Hi, I'm Bucky, and in this segment we're going to be talking about ownership and living above the line. What does it mean to really have ownership in our lives? Think about this quote for a minute. Whatever I'm saying, doing, even wearing at any given moment is sending a message to the people and the world around me about who I am. What would it be like in our lives if we lived ownership from that definition? Having ownership over the things that we said, the things that we did, and even the things we wore. Sometimes in our lives, we come to a point where we have to make a decision. It's like a line or a line in the sand that represents something maybe challenging for us. And sometimes we're going to be lucky enough to be conscious in that decision, and other times we're going to resort back to our habituated behaviors. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you were blaming others for the things that you've done? Or maybe justifying to why some things were a certain way? Maybe you lied to the people that you care about, or maybe you quit on something that you were committed to. In those moments, you're sending a message to the people and the world around you about who you are. If you blame others, the message you're sending is, I have no control over my life. If you're justifying, the message you're sending is, I'm just like everybody else. If you find yourself lying to others, the message you're sending is this, I am a liar and I cannot be trusted. And if you're quitting on things that you're committed to, the message you're sending is, I don't have what it takes to be successful. Is this true about who you are? Is that the message that you want to send? What does it mean to really have ownership in our lives and to really own everything that we do? What's great about life is that we get another choice. We have a decision that we can make that's a little bit different. And it starts with a single word, and that word is responsibility. Remember the last time you played the game of Simon Says. This is what responsibility looks like in the game of Simon Says. Simon says touch your head, Simon says touch your ears, Simon says touch your nose, Simon says touch your hips. It looks like being out when you're out. Have you ever been in your classroom when someone was eating food when they weren't supposed to? The teacher walks up to them and says, are you eating in my class? This is what responsibility sounds like. Yes. Maybe it's a situation at home. You're getting home late when you're supposed to be home a little bit earlier. Your parents say, hey, what time are you supposed to be home? Responsibility looks like this, at 8 o'clock. When we take responsibility in our lives, we get something, and that something is this: choice, power, freedom. Let's look at how choice shows up in the example of Simon Says. Simon says touch your head, Simon says touch your ears, Simon says touch your nose. I'm out, and what kind of choice can I make in this situation if I want to get better at the game of Simon Says? Yeah, I could sit down and I can watch it. I could sit down and I could still play along. Let's look at the other example of being in your class. You're eating in class, your teacher comes up to you, they say, are you eating? Responsibility sounds like, yes, I'm eating. Now, what choice can I make if I want to move my relationship with my teacher forward? Now, here's the thing about living above the line versus living below the line. If I choose to live below the line, if I say, you know what, teacher, it's not my fault, it's your fault, it's your rules, or you know what, they're eating too, all of a sudden, I give that power or that choice away. All of a sudden, I have no more control in my life, and I can't dictate what's going to show up. Just by taking responsibility or ownership in my life, I now have control. And when I have control and I'm making positive choices, I get something else. And that something else is power. Think about driving a car and what it feels like to push the throttle, to really move in your life with force, to go from A to B, not only in a clear direction, but with speed. That's what it's like to have power in our lives. Let's talk about the game of Simon Says. Simon says touch your head, Simon says touch your ears, Simon says touch your nose. Responsibility looks like, I'm out. The choice I make is I'm going to practice while I'm sitting down. Now, what does that mean as far as power? Now, all of a sudden, I'm practicing while I'm sitting down in the game of Simon Says, and guess what? Over X amount of time, I'm getting better at that game. Let's look at the example of coming home late. You're supposed to be home at 8 o'clock. You get home, it's 10 o'clock. Your parents walk up to you, they say, hey, what time is it right now? And you say, hey, mom and dad, it's 10 o'clock. That's what responsibility sounds like. We look at then taking a choice or making a choice. What kind of choice can I make in order to move forward with my relationship with my parents? Mom, dad, you know, I totally apologize. I blew it. I knew I was supposed to be home at 8 o'clock and I know that it's 10 o'clock and I'm sorry. I'm guiding how that relationship moves and shifts. And even in the difficult moments of my life or even the difficult moments of that relationship, I can still, through the choices that I'm making, move that relationship forward. And when I do that, in all the different situations of my life, I get something else. And this is something that every single person on the planet, no matter who you are, where you come from, what you look like, wants more of. It's freedom. Freedom to do the things that you want, freedom to be the person that you want to be, and freedom to experience what you want out of life. And here's the things that we forget about freedom. So many times we think about it as this huge abstract thing, but freedom starts with responsibility. The little things. How do I take responsibility for who I am, what I say, what I wear, every single interactions? How do I really own that in my life? How do I make positive choices, create power in my life so that I can have freedom in who I am? That's what it means to be living above the line. For more free success tools just like this, check us out at quantumlearning.com.
Sorry guys.
I didn't mean to do that so perfectly. Okay.